We have bad news. This year's big COLA increase in Social Security monthly benefits is falling short for the millions of people that are relying on these payments. And that's because for the past 2 months, the biggest increase in Social Security benefits has been for decades been delivering much needed breathing room. Much needed breathing room for the past couple of months for the seniors, because nearly all of the survey respondents of a Social Security poll say that they don't think this year's sizable bump will give them a chance to get their feet on the ground again and catch up. So that's not good. Furthermore, they worry that the increased income could result in huge tax bills. This year's beefed up COLA, which boosted the average retiree benefit by more than $140 a month, will push retirees over the edge, over the income thresholds which are not indexed for inflation, plus thus requiring them to pay more taxes on part of their Social Security benefit. Many who had not paid taxes on their benefits in the past are going to have to go through this. With that being said, a Social Security policy analyst has told Yahoo Finance that even as inflation moderates, it will be more difficult for lower and modest income seniors and those who have been retired to dig out of the shortfall between what Social Security beneficiaries received over the past 2 years. And this effect of actual inflation is going to not be good, because according to the SSI, nearly 9 out of 10 people aged 65 and older receive Social Security benefits. Among the elderly Social Security beneficiaries, 12% of men and 15% of women are on Social Security for 90% of their income. For the typical retiree, it covers about half the retirement income. Seniors overall have been feeling the gap for months now. Last fall, nearly 2 out of 5 of the 1,500 retirees had this problem. The Senior Citizens League reported that their standard of living had worsened since March 2020, and they had depleted savings faster than planned. Roughly the same percentage that they had no savings and had piled on debt and had tackled low-income assistance programs. So when the Social Security Administration, the federal government agency that oversees the benefit, announced the increase for this year, the largest since 1980, when the COLA was 11%, there was a resounding echo of applause, and that's because it raised the average type benefit by more than $140 a month. Even the adjustment, coupled with a decrease in Medicare Part B premiums, was expected to make a significant difference in making ends meet for more than 70 million senior citizens. The expansion would be financed by consolidating other tax benefits, including a significant revamp of the Earned Income Tax Credit. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities estimates the number of children living in poverty would decline by 1 million under the Romney proposal, and the roughly 20 million children families making less than $50,000 would be better off by this. Analysts have also argued that roughly 10 million people will be worse off under the Romney plan, due in part to its proposed cuts. So, hopefully President Biden can do something about this. We got some bad news. Some really big changes are actually coming to monthly benefits soon. Officials have always confirmed that millions of Americans are at risk of losing health insurance in just a few weeks, and very important details have been announced. So be sure to keep watching, because we got a ton of information about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and SSDI. You definitely don't want to miss out on this, because there's a ton of information that we got. So, like I said, the Biden administration is telling healthcare providers to begin preparing for an end to the public crisis emergency. The change will have broad implications for Medicaid health insurance recipients, and could significantly impact how hospitals and pharmaceuticals operate. The health secretary told reporters on a call that how the United States manages this crisis will provide crucial data on whether the emergency needs to remain in place. The Health and Human Services Department will give the public 60 days notice before lifting the crisis emergency. His comments come after President Biden claimed in September that the crisis is over. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services told healthcare providers in August to start preparing for a return to pre-crisis rules as soon as possible. The crisis emergency was first declared by the former president in January 2020, and the health emergency has allowed millions of people to receive increased food benefits through the federal government nutrition program. And when the public health emergency does end, the Health and Human Services Department estimates up to 15 million people will be disenrolled from Medicare and health insurance programs. Nutrition experts fear that millions of families will face a hunger cliff. The most dramatic impact from ending the health emergency will fall on people enrolled in Medicaid and the Children's Health Insurance Program, which is known as CHIP. Medicaid provides inexpensive and often free health insurance to lower-income adults. Medicaid enrollment increased 26% during the crisis, to a record of more than 90 million people as of June. States received extra federal money through the Families First Crisis Response Act for Medicaid and CHIP, on the condition that they be kept all current and new recipients enrolled during this public health crisis. and before the crisis even began, people had to renew their Medicaid coverage every year by confirming to state officials that they still met income and other eligibility requirements. Medicaid and CHIP will return to business as usual when the crisis emergency ends. States will have 14 months to verify who is eligible and who is not, but an estimated 15 million people will still have to leave the program. Officials have said that about 7 million people will lose Medicaid coverage, and not only that, but despite being eligible for the program, they will get this. House Minority Kevin McCarthy has sought to tamp down worries that the GOP majority would use a raising federal debt ceiling as leverage to secure reforms on government programs like Social Security and Medicare. McCarthy, who is hoping to be Speaker if Republicans take control of the House, told reporters in an interview that Republicans will try to get concessions on spending cuts in exchange for raising the debt limit, a must-pass pressure measure in order to avoid economic turmoil. The question came as a follow-up that some House Republicans suggested reforms to programs like Social Security and Medicare could be on the table in a debt limit debate. Democrats also blasted McCarthy's remarks with Nancy Pelosi in press offers, saying it was confirmation of GOP plans to change debt limit force to put their plans through and slash Medicare and Social Security for all. But many people rely on Social Security as their only source of income, so hopefully President Biden can fix this and help out the American people who need stimulus payments and who need Social Security benefits and who need stimulus money as soon as possible. Let's get to see President Biden. We need to see President Biden's stimulus very, very soon. I know many of you are wondering what the status is of the $2,000 stimulus checks, as well as who can expect to receive one of these checks. In this video, I'll be going over the confirmed schedule for the $2,000 extra relief checks, everybody, so you want to be sure to continue watching. Millions of Americans benefited financially in 2021 from the enhanced child tax credits, but this year there are changes, and many households are wondering if there will be payments and when the deadline is. Well, as part of the American Rescue Plan signed into law by the President, the child tax credits were expanded to up to $3,600 per child from the previous $2,000. And while not everyone took advantage of the payments, which started in July 2021 and ended in December last year, eligible parents were awarded with up to $300 per month. The program served as a means to help cash-strapped parents meet the cost of childcare amid the crisis. This year, because the enhanced child tax credit was not expanded and extended by lawmakers, it goes back to its previous levels. Millions of tax-paying American parents will see the federal credit revert back to $2,000 per child this year. This is in line with the program offered from before the 2021 expansion. That means for this 2022 tax year, the money will be distributed in the form of a single end-of-year tax credit, per the previous program from the IRS. But this will either reduce the size of the recipient's tax bill or increase the tax refund. Children must be ages 16 and younger to be eligible for the support, and their total income cannot exceed $400,000 on a joint return of $200,000. Of those incomes, a $50 decrease would apply for every $1,000 in additional income. President Biden has previously called to extend child tax credit payments until 2025. The Biden administration is also relaunching its efforts to reach families whose incomes are so low they don't even have to file taxes and direct them to an online portal where they can submit information needed to claim the credit. The online tool launched last fall was not available during the tax filing season to encourage people to file full returns, which will allow them to claim other tax credits. And more than 115,000 families used the portal to claim around